So if you do have a transmission that was this bad, you're probably better off getting another one by the time you replace everything that needs to be replaced. Okay, so what we have here is a very good NV4500 core. This is some kind of early GM. GM changed the input bearing retainer size, synchronized reverse gear, square versus round top cover, the first gear ratio, well, all gear ratios. In the mid-90s, there was some kind of overlap and things like that. So we're going to take this apart and see if we can tell what this is. This does have the wide reverse idler gear and the small input retainer and a square top cover. So I believe that should be generally should be the faster ratio, but we're gonna tear into this and see, and we're gonna get a little first-person view on it. So let's get started. Okay, so what we have here is a very good NV4500 core. This is some kind of early GM. GM changed the input bearing retainer size, synchronized reverse gear, square versus round top cover, the first gear ratio, well, all gear ratios. In the mid-90s, there was some kind of overlap and things like that. So we're going to take this apart and see if we can tell what this is. This does have the wide reverse idler gear and the small input retainer and a square top cover. So I believe that should be generally should be the faster ratio, but we're gonna tear into this and see, and we're gonna get a little first-person view on it. So let's get started. Oh, not that one. Missing some bolts. Oh, I didn't get my screwdriver. That's it. So this top cover is broken here, but it's not broke all the way down. So I think the case is okay. I think when this input shaft exploded, it just set shrapnel up there. But let's find out. Well, it doesn't look like anything hit it, but there's no scars on the outside, so it wasn't dropped. What I thought possibly could have happened was when this went to heck, they took it out and it was upside down outside, and some water got in here and froze. So that could have happened. I don't see really anything that would have caused that, unless just when this failed and it jumped out it's probably in fourth. I don't know, it could have been in third, but when it jumped out, it could have cracked it right there. But the forks look okay, so if nothing else, should have some pretty good, well, maybe not the fifth and reverse fork here. Some wear on that. But yeah, there should be some good salvageable parts out of that. And then this guy, all sorts of messed up here. Not entirely sure what could have gone wrong. And it looks like when it failed, they did at least idle it for a few minutes to grind the end of the teeth down. So, yeah, let's keep going. Oop. I need, is that the right socket? Yeah, that's the right socket. I need something different here. Actually, yeah. Let's go with this. Don't forget that. Wow, I don't know if this has ever been into. Usually they're not glued in quite that good. Where's my adapter? Nice. Whoop. That one was loose. Yeah, and I see that they did try to re-drill and failed miserably. The support bolts. I mean, I guess I must have got something through there.
That's broken. Here looks a little rounder than it should be.
Actually, it looks like that oil port got chewed into. So now it's a really good oil port.
I'm gonna guess a bearing race is a little thin in there.
Yeah, whatever's left of it.
Oh, girl's seen some better days, eh?
And when you're backing these tail housings off, you don't want to use a big hammer. Just a little hammer and walk it off these dowel pins. Or walk the dowel pins out of the case, depending on how it wants to come off. There we go. Dead fly. It's good oil absorbent. This has been sitting outside a while. Spideys, itsy bitsy Spideys. Yeah. Guess since we're here, we can go ahead and at least remove the bolts for the PTO covers. Factory tag, which I did not notice previously. Where's my brushes? $95. Well, $316.95. So I'll do another checking on something here. I don't know if you heard it get hollow as I was tapping it, but that helps to loosen it and lessen the chance of bending the PTO cover. That tapping on the cover trick also works with differential covers, just in case anyone was wondering. Look at all the garbage in the bottom of that. Magnet fell off of the cover, sitting right there. This is a good one. Definitely OE shaft. I can tell because it is counter drilled to press on 5th gear. Actually, we can see if it's the early ratio or the late ratio. Let's see. Is this the later one? I think so. 1.85, 2.64. This is 2.85, so this is the later ratio. So that square top cover should be the original style. Now, I may have to lock this into 2 gears. We'll see. Nope. No problems there. Is this going to slip off for me? It is not. Well, that's a good sign. Let's see. Nope, quarter. Actually, we may want to do this with a little less giddy up. Actually, I want something to protect those threads. This should do it. That should do it. This is going to be tricky. The problem with doing it this way is you can separate the inside from the outside on these dampeners, but it's really about the only way you can do this. I mean, there are other ways, real fancy tools, which most folks don't have, so we're going to try it this way. Okay. There's that. Looks like it's intact. Even looks to be in pretty good shape. The rubber's not all rotted out. It's a little soft, not too bad. We'll see what that looks like when it gets all cleaned up. So, now we will attempt to remove countershaft fifth. And these are the OE, clean that up. The OE style roll pins where the top is kind of flared. So OE, and in our kits, these two are flared, and the one in here for the fifth gear link right here, that one's straight through, so you can drive it in from the top and then drive it all the way through to remove everything. I've seen personally that some places are using the same roll pins, all three, so you can drive these ones all the way through. I guess they work. I mean, if that one style is not going to fall out of here, it shouldn't fall out of there. But it's just not the OE style. Ooh, there we go. A little more. Oh. And it's gone. Okay, snap ring pliers. Whoop. Don't forget to hold on to the synchro assembly. And this is synchronized, OE synchronized fifth here. I believe that's OE. I have to look at my notes. So I don't know that this has ever been into. Oop, struts and springs are, well, I lost one strut and spring set. That's okay. Doing a full disassembly anyway, I just like to try and take it all off as an assembly. So doing this, you can kind of slide the fork off the rail a little bit and work the gear off. And that's another thing with a lot of aftermarket gears, these grooves aren't quite deep enough. So a lot of times you can't slide the countershaft fifth off without actually pulling fifth first. So that's a good sign. Fifth gear countershaft bearing, metal cage, that's OE style. Got a bunch of crap in it. Yeah, I'm going to say this has never been rebuilt. Fifth gear countershaft thrust washer. And then if we rotate, we can see the anti-rotation pin. Try that one. Don't forget to take those out. A lot of guys shear these off because they either don't see them or forget about them. Put that in there. That and that. And no, that's, can remove the plates. Or rear bearing retainers, as they're technically called. Whoops. Ah, no, you cannot. That's right. I forgot. Okay. Anyway, it won't slide over the gear. Anyway, she's loose. It's ready. Once we get that out, I'm going to check countershaft end play. So we'll leave that one screwed on. So we're going to take out our rail, maybe. If I can see in there. Probably going to need a longer punch. I don't think this is the right size. Where's my... No. Definitely not. Oh, yeah, it is. Exactly the right size. Okay. Can't read size on it anymore. Okay. Knock that through. Yeah, rookie mistake trying to take that off. That's what I get for trying to do this on video. Forget what I'm up to. Okay, here's your 5th gear fork and rail. Yuck. A lot of that grime's not from sitting. Same with in that bearing there. They never changed the oil on this poor thing. Okay, let's move on to the front. Take this guy off. Three out of 4? Yeah, that's fine. When you're taking these off, even if you've got the snout on these, don't hit the snout, because that happens. Although, that's not why this one broke, but that happens. Come on. At least the pilot's good. Well, the outside of the pilot's good. What the heck happened here? Wow. That's one for the wall. Okay, now we can take the input shaft out. Yeah. She's seen some better days. Then roll it. Come on, there we go. That's perfect. I'm going to take this stuff off, and then we got to take 5th gear off. There's no fiber left on that one. Ah, cool. I'm surprised this thing's still here. Okay. Now we got to get tricky with 5th gear. So that's an OE press fit. So that one is one of these guys. I think it's, let's see, is it this one? No. Is it that one? Maybe it is that one. No. Definitely not that one. Is it? No. Of course, I tried to have all the tools out beforehand, and I forgot about these couple of onesie-twosies. That should be it there. That's it. This one. Did I already get this one? This is a weird size for a... Is it the 9/16? I forget. This particular puller is a weird size as far as puller hex sizes go. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I also need the sleeve. Back that off so I can put my little insert in. Okay. I don't remember if I oiled, doesn't look like I oiled this one after I washed it, so we'll oil it real quick. And get my fancy spacer. Oh, yuck. Missing a nut. I see one, yeah. That's what I picked up the other day. Maybe? Is it that one? Yeah, it's that one. Nothing like doing a little tool maintenance on camera. Let's try it now. Still kind of crooked. Looks like my all thread is off a little. Adjustment. I guess that was another thing. Besides setting tools out, I could have made sure they were ready to go. And my workbench is already a mess. Okay. So we've got our two shims, kind of heavy. Our main shaft bearing retainer. Have fifth gear. Looks good. This shaft looks pretty good. I don't know about the front yet. I didn't inspect that. But that's original style main shaft there. Okay. That's another thing. These OE style main shafts you don't have to pull the rear bearing off to get them out. Well, main shaft, counter shaft, all that design was a little better. Let's see if I can get this to sit about where it lives again. Just in the counter shaft design, probably can't see it on this camera, I don't know, but your can I hold it? Your third gear on the counter shaft on the aftermarket ones is almost butted all the way up against second here. So you can't slide the shaft forward enough to tilt it out. So you have to pull or, well, cut the cage off the bearing to get the newer style main shafts out. This one, it was halfway out. What the heck? There we go. So that's fantastic. I love it when I don't have to do extra work through that little tiny hole right there. Okay, is this going to come out? No, that's kind of in there. Could drive it all the way in, but it's already halfway out. So, there. Yuck. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Just a little chatter in there. I mean, it wore good. Nice even wear. I think these little marks here are just where it's been sitting. Yeah, wow, that looks good. So, let's see if there's any, or what the end play is like on that. I won't measure it, we'll just kind of go by feel. Oh, there's a little. Looks like a few thousandths. Actually, this, what the heck? Something's wrong with that reverse key idler or something. Something's wrong here somewhere. But there's a few thousandths. I'm going to guess, I can kind of see it moving up here. I'm going to guess it's a little on the outside. But I mean, it's about what it should be for normal wear and tear. Maybe a little excessive use. But there's probably about 10 thousandths or so. But anyway, now we can buzz this off. Change my socket again. Right. And here's another thing I guess I could point out. If you look at these shims, when they're installed, they don't touch the cage of the bearing. I just took one apart. That was a fresh reman. It was not good. The bearings were used bearings, and most of the parts inside were new. No miles on it. The bearings were trashed. Anyway, no miles on the, after it was reman, I should say. Anyways, these counter shaft shims were rubbing on the cage. And I thought that was a little odd because your cage is always turning. And these are usually not, so then you got some grinding and filing right there. Our premium TK 1008, 1009 shims, they don't do that. They work just like the OE ones where they won't rub the cage. I don't know where that place got those, but yeah. Anyway, was not a good thing. That whole transmission was kind of a bad job. That fell right out. That's good. This reverse gear is probably going to fight me a little bit. So just kind of go in there with a punch, and it should tap out pretty easy. Once they sit for a while. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, well, I was going to say once they sit for a while, you never know. Okay, we'll just take that all the way out. Roll that gear up out of there, maybe. There we go. Whoops. Okay, so we got our 2 bearings and our bearing spacer for the early style. Yeah, this thing went without an oil change for a while. Look at all that crap in there. Cool. This looks good though. We'll throw everything in the dishwasher and do a better inspection. Anyway, this should come right out. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Nope, missed it by that much. Yeah, it's okay because this bearing is a heck of a lot easier to pull than the main shaft bearing. That one, I think it was this one. Oops. Yeah, that should be, that's the right one. This one we can even use the a little bit shorter remover. Where's my sleeve? This one I definitely haven't oiled since I cleaned it last, so I'll give her a shot. And my spacer is right here in front of me. So this one, there's not so much of a risk of wrecking that hole with this tool. I just want to have everything nice and clean so I don't have to clean up any burrs or anything. This tool's pretty good about not making burrs, but okay. There's counter shaft rear bearing. Now this guy will just fall right out. Sometimes you can get them wiggled right out, and just don't want to take that kind of time. It was real close, but have to pull it off anyway. And this is the 2-piece or 3-piece, I guess, the modular counter shaft, which it should be with the larger reverse idler, at least in most cases. every time you look in the books and see what they say they did, there's always going to be somebody with something different, like an NV4500 and an 89 Dodge Diesel. Okay, well, case is done. Let's get our thrust washers out of there. They look relatively good. Oh, the metal thrust washers, yeah. They do look good. Yep. Yeah, this case has never been into. Some rocks, some sludge. Here's our magnet. Oh, dropped a roller. Must be out of one of the idler rollers. Okay, let's just put this down here out of the way where I can trip on it. And don't think, let's see, maybe there's a sink tool here. So this front bearing here, nope, you can press it off with the gear. Of course, the newer style doesn't have that, so we'll try and do it up here real quick. That's that one. That's that one. Okay. Uh-oh. Can I get that in there? Come on. It's a very good fit. Come on. There we go. Am I on there? I think so. Yeah. So there's our counter shaft front bearing. Oh, that reminds me. One last thing to take out of this before it hits the wash is the front cap and front bearing race. Did I not get my? No, I did not. Jeez. Yeah. Change your oil, folks. Put a filter on these. You know, do something to protect your investment, like me just hitting the hammer onto my GoPro here. Yeah, well, not that stuff, that's just from falling out, but yeah, a filter would have caught all that gunk. Now that's ready for the wash. So that will break apart in just a minute. This guy, I could just rip it apart on the bench because, yeah, nothing's going back together in this. But we'll set it up the fancy way. Get most of this off and then pull that rear bearing. Ooh, actually, this is OE. This is not going to slide off. Okay. So much for that. Well, we can take our slider off here since the springs and struts have left the chat a long time ago anyway. Yeah, that's going to be a press off. Oh my God. Oh, broke one piece of it there. Okay, well, we'll get this. And this one is probably none of the ones I have out already. I could, let's see. Nope. There we go. I think it's a little, it's not exactly right. Wait a minute. Oh, that was too small. No, I don't think so. No. It'd help if I label all these tools, but ain't nobody got time for that. Maybe it is that one. No. Yeah, that's that one. I may have to get my, let's see. I have to get my longer screw rods set up. Yeah. Or, no. Yeah, actually. This one may do the trick. Yeah.
Adam from Additive AI.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take it. And we'll be right back after this commercial break. And we're back after our commercial break. So, this guy should extend it out long enough. I've never used this particular adapter before, so we'll just have to see. Looks pretty close there. Oh, don't forget to back that off all the way. Where's my... There we go. Whoops. Okay. Easy peasy. So we've got our thrust washer here. Uh-oh. I need to turn my thing. And actually, once we get these off, might not need to press this other thing off. I'll try popping it with a screwdriver. Wait, this way. Okay. So this is a non-synchronized reverse, which is earlier. So you got kind of a crossover of both worlds here with non-synchronized reverse and then the faster ratios. A lot easier to set up. You don't have to worry about putting the struts and springs in. And of course this slider isn't set up for them. Doesn't look like. Should have four notches right here. It's got the grooves here, but yeah, obviously no provisions. And then this came up with that taper towards the back. Dimensionally, not sure if there's a difference on this older one. I think this is the first non-synchronized I've taken off. So, reverse bearing, then you've got first here. See if I can find my lock ring pliers. Oh, and then this should be a steel spacer. Yep. Steel spacer on these early ones. The bigger your lock ring pliers for this, the better off you are. Come on, there we go. Then if you can get it up into the little drill outs in that, that helps. Okay, here comes the fun part. I might have to get a screwdriver under that. Okay. Sometimes you can get it pulled up off of there like that. Just get enough room to get up under the gear in the synchro here. There it is. Put down in there. Okay, and these guys, there's a snap ring between each one of these, or a lock ring rather, and these ones are too big for that. There's my, there they are. Okay, get rid of that bearing. Nice. fiber on this one doesn't look too bad. There it is. Ooh, and it does have the governor springs, or governor keys, it looks like. Let's just get that out of the way. There. Seems to work a little better than the pick. Okay. Take off our other governor spring. And what these do is they prevent shifting at excessive RPMs. So I pulled this off this way. That taper went towards the front of the transmission. Let's see, there's the oh, of course, these things never come apart easy when you want them to. Yuck. Look at that. Oh, is that broken? No. Just kind of walk them out of the way. There we go. Now we're going to have a mess, maybe. Walk them one more time. Okay, strut and spring. There's just so much gunk in here. There we go. Okay, there's all the struts and springs. Look at that. Yuck. Then here's your governor keys that are sooted in there. There we go. Okay. There's that. Another lock ring. Oop. But it worked so well for the last one. Maybe I had it up. Every one of these comes apart a little different. I mean, the steps are the same. Just some you struggle with and some you don't. Of course, being on camera, it's going to be a struggle. I'm not going to quite get. think I need a different pick here. There. Oop. Of course, there's grooves all the way up that I can get caught in. That synchronizer assembly doesn't look too bad either. Then that final snap ring we'll take off the other way so we don't have to fight a bunch of grooves. Oop. Okay, try this, the old screwdriver method here. And this might actually work. Sometimes with these major failures, the splines get all screwed up. You got to take it to the press, which creates other problems, which there's that, I guess, but keep in mind this is a screwdriver, not a pry bar. So we're not really putting too much tension on it. I don't happen to have any pry bars that are real thin like this. Once I get a little space opened up in here. Did I break it? No. Slipped out. Once I get a little space up in here, then I will be able to get a pry bar. Maybe. Yeah, these splines may have taken a little damage. Doesn't take much. Did I already have it out? No. There it is. Right in front of me. This is definitely the better method than dealing with heavy bearing splitters, getting it all fixed up in the press. Takes a little more time. And because this stuff is already hammered anyway, I'm not too worried about it. I want to try and not wreck third, but like that synchro tooth I just busted, but that's okay. Not reusing synchros. You can see it's taken some distance out of the splines. Broke that one. That little tooth there. That's okay. On all the new aftermarket stuff, this just slips right on. Yeah, I think we took some damage to splines here. Now we're getting to the point where I can't Can't get an effective bite on it. So we're doing it this way just to show that yes, you can do some of this without a shop press, although this other stuff, it certainly helps to have the specialty tools. Okay. That's, I think, all we're going to get without the clamshell. Whoa, what was I pulling with this last time? I might need a bigger. Yeah. So we've got smaller and we've got bigger. Hopefully this isn't too big to where it doesn't want to fit where it needs to fit. Ooh. Okay. Oh. I'm gonna set that here maybe. Take some slack out. Okay. Okay. Take your whole 40-pound assembly right over to the press. Without hitting the GoPro. Too close. And actually, before we press, we'll see if we can just tap it out. With that guy and my smaller hammer, which is probably right in front of me somewhere. Yeah, it is. Yep, I think that'll work. Maybe. It moved a little bit. That's not quite going to cut it. Synchronizer isn't too bad besides the couple of teeth I broke off. The hub, besides being broke there, it's in pretty good shape. Okay. Take off third. It's definitely used, but it still has good shape. It's just a little rounded off right at the face there, right at the point. Then this guy, so you can press all that off. The problem is, here's your 2-3 thrust washer steel, early style. Problem is, show you here in a second, if my camera's tall enough here. Come on. Am I gonna, no, can't get in there. There's my big ones. There we go, maybe. Okay, problem with pressing this whole assembly off is under this thrust, or in this thrust washer right here, you have another anti-rotation pin. Am I tall enough? Where's my? So there's two of these, usually, depending on the rebuilder. Recently got into one that this was omitted from the build. You know, you'll shear that pin off right there if you try to press the whole gear assembly off. A lot of times if your splines are hammered that bad, you're probably going to be replacing the shaft anyway. But if you do just go to pressing on a good shaft, it's kind of a pain to drill that hardened pin out. You know, they do fracture real easy for doing this, but it's definitely not ideal. And one last snap ring here, and then this shaft is completely broken down. There we go. So when you're looking at these, this will all get run through the wash to do a good inspection. But where the pilot bearing rides right here, which was gone from, you know, these butts up right here, and then that thrust bearing goes, actually, this, hey, yeah, that's an OE style thrust bearing. So that'll butt right up against the synchronizer hub and take the thrust loads, and there's a bearing in there that keeps it from wobbling around. You want to check these surfaces. This looks good. Well, no. Looks a little hammered on, we'll see. After it goes through the dishwasher. But a lot of times you'll get a little play in your input shaft. A lot of people just try to replace this bearing. Well, if this bearing is bad, and that's where a lot of play will come from, almost certainly your rear main shaft bearing is bad. Probably your counter shaft bearings, not to mention this needle bearing, and good chance the rest of your needle bearings. And if something that will accelerate this is if your throwout or your pilot bearing or bushing in the flywheel goes out, then there's nothing to support the load all the way through, and it just starts doing that. Or if that's good and something goes bad back here, then this starts doing that back there, and it just does this kind of stuff. Really wish I knew how many miles were on this. Everything I took out so far looks factory. And then the splines on this, they're not bad. Just right at the front, they kind of rolled over a little bit from the slop this thing had. But as far as reusing, as far as the splines are concerned, that looks good. The rest of the shaft looks good. The original fifth gear failure problem, you can kind of see the ridges, the shiny parts right here from fifth gear. Over time, that'll start walking around eating into the shaft, and that's actually the cause of fifth gear getting loose. Didn't happen quite so much in the GMs. They had a lot of press-on support back here. They didn't put out as much power as the Dodge. So, and the early ones, the earlier gear than this was a 0.71 instead of a 0.75, I think, ratio. Have to look at the book. But, you know, gear diameter has a lot to do with it, and this is the larger diameter main shaft fifth. So leverage definitely plays a factor into that. So the last thing we got to do, last couple things. Get rid of that. That looks pretty good. This guy's got some struts in it. Struts and springs. Two out of three. Or that's right, that's the one I dropped earlier. So there's those. I'm going to leave that on there for now. Then this guy. So here's a lot of the difference in the, ooh. Well, that's no good. The difference in the new versus old counter shafts is these splines go all the way to the end. Because the reverse idler is only half as wide. So it needs to engage back here. That's, where's, that's kind of right in between. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's some rolling of that gear there. This might be able to be cleaned up, but this rides right on the edge right there. I don't know. Yeah, we'll get it cleaned up, but that's probably a paperweight. So with these modular shafts, the last thing we got to do is take these gears off. What the heck is that? Some hardened crap right there. So this one won't be so bad to set up in the press versus on the table. Almost. And these, it's a good idea to press off one at a time. Although with a press this size, you could probably do them both at the same time. It takes a lot of force. These gears are a press fit with a key. The only thing holding them from rotating. I have seen a couple where the key shears off, but that's usually pretty rare. That's more of a Dodge problem than a GM problem. You know what? We might want to go up a notch. Okay, get a notch out of it. Yeah. At least for the input gear. Where's all my little... And just a little something on it there. This input gear looks like it did take a little abuse from the input shaft going out. So there's two keys here, and I found that if you can get the first key out, it kind of helps. Sometimes you get just a little tiny nick or ridge right on the end, and then you run into stuff, or this key will start to rotate up out, and then you got to fight with it. Wow, this one's actually coming out pretty nice. Usually they're not that easy to come out. So you got one key right there, then you got a little build up of gunk right there, which a lot of times will give you problems. So we'll just use a dirty paper towel to clean it, right? Okay. One of these days I'm going to hook these eyes up to some kind of cylinder, either air or hydraulics, so it should be real handy. And I might be able to squeeze that under. Maybe, not quite. More adjustments on a press would sure be handy sometimes in the basic spacing. Actually, that one's going to run out of room. I don't like going too long on the tips because there's more chance of stuff to shoot out. Nailed it right as I was starting to kneel over and grab it. Oh, looks like somebody exploded a bearing in there too. Anyway, that's why we run padded stuff in the bottom. So there you have it. Wow. Usually I gotta fight and fight and fight. Those came out real nice. It's too bad that's hammered. The rest of it looks okay. So you got reverse and first, second, third, and then input for the counter shaft. I don't know, maybe that's not so good. Well, maybe that is. Yeah, that's okay. So there you have it, I guess. Well, we could do a quick thing on tearing apart, breaking down the top cover. But first we're going to take some commercial brakes and I'm going to load the dishwasher. Okay, now that we got the table cleaned up, we put a spit shine on this real quick, just so it's easier to work with. And we're not tripping over gloves. So you don't have to do this in a holding fixture, but it certainly helps. To get the roll pins out, you'll need a couple of punches and a couple of drill bits. So what's going to end up happening is that these pins can't be driven out through the cover, obviously. So you drill holes into the cover, and then our kits, QK1144 or 1145, come with some screws so you can seal the holes back up. But anyway, we'll go ahead and remove what we can remove. Go ahead and knock out the, knock out the plugs. I think I can do it with this one, yeah. One plug. Two plugs. Uh-oh. There we go. Three plugs. As you can see, there's no shortage of gunk on these. I did spray some stuff down the holes just to loosen these forks up a little bit. You don't really want to hit on the forks. Just want to kind of nudge on them a little bit. Okay. Then there's shift interlocks in here that so you can't shift more than one fork at once, but we can start with the fifth in reverse. Maybe. Yikes. Did they put unidirectional pins in there? Certainly could have. So, wow. Let's see. It shouldn't be. No, it's just mashed over a little bit from installing it. Okay. So that's out. Now this is loose on the rail. It kind of slides. See all the crap built up in there. Now we can turn this rail 90 degrees, maybe, or close to it. Do I have anything shorter? Probably not. Here. Piece of a pick. Is that short enough to get turned and then get out? Probably not. Okay. That's pretty close. So now the interlock should be disengaged and this should come out a little bit easier. Of course, it's gooped in. Maybe I should have been wearing gloves. Ooh, silver too. Okay. There. Not quite able to grab it yet. These you just gotta work them out the best you can. There we go. Look at that. Okay. The detents, you got to make sure you watch your eyeballs. I got some on me. Just smear it around real quick here, so I really can't see. Okay. So fifth and reverses out. Same procedure for, actually, you know what? These lugs will just drive both of them out from the other side. They're kind of mashed over. That was 5 in reverse. You got your 1, 2, and your 3, 4. So we'll work on, we'll just drive both those lugs out right now. Or the lug pins, not that punch. Where's my, right here. Okay, and then 1, 2 fork can come forward, maybe. Here's the spring for that poppet. So those are free. And then this, we want to slide forward. If we can, there we go. Turn it back. Now we can see it. Ouch. Is it moving? Yeah. Okay, there's that one. Roll it back over. So now we want to try and shift it back. All right. Now, we take our drill, itty bitty bit, and this will go right through the roll pin. Oop. Okay. What else? Where's my clamp? You do not have to clamp these. It sure helps. So we're going to try and clamp this so it's 90 degrees, and I might not be able to do it with this particular clamp. Clamp it so it's the pin is 90 degrees to the case. Yeah, this particular one isn't quite going to work. Welding vice grips work really good. Of course, I don't have any of those here, so we'll do our best to hold it in place here. Okay, we're through the case on that one. We'll go ahead and do 3, 4. Whoops. And that is one reason why you want to clamp it. Got enough meat here to I don't know if this one's going to work. Nope. Anyway, we'll do what we can, and you can just use your imagination for that one. So, we want to move this fork forward. Oh, actually, no, we don't. I'm getting ahead of myself here, breaking bits. Okay, first what we want to do, we've got 2 holes drilled. We want to take a little bit bigger bit that we can stick a punch through and then put a screw in. If a guy was to reseal this, or reuse this, they can reseal it. Just go ahead and drill out both of these. Okay. Now we can see the roll pins. One pin. Two pins. Even though only one is going to be messed with right now. Uh-oh. Didn't really tighten my fixture that well. Okay. Now this moves on the rail. And we can turn this 90 degrees or thereabouts. Wow, there's some gunk built up in this one. What's in this? I wonder if that fork's bent. Huh. Yeah. I wonder if that fork is bent. Anyway. An attempt to move it. Am I getting... Wow, that's all sorts of chewed up in there. Let's do this. There we go. Oh, you know what it is? This whole I'll have to check the rail to make sure it's not bent, but where the top cover split, it was a little bit higher right at the front here. It actually bent all the way up to there and then split from there to there. So could be dealing with some bent rails, but who knows? Come on. There we go. Maybe. Come on. Looks like they had a heck of a time putting that pin in at the factory there. Oop. Plunger and spring. Okay. And we're back with another drill bit. Perfect example of why you need to clamp these. Get it back in its home there. Whoa. Do the old flippy flip. Need about 4 hands. There. So we got all million of our roll pins out. There. Now it should walk right out. When you're doing this, you want to make sure the end of the punch doesn't gouge the bore. On this one, it's a cracked top cover anyway, so I'm not real worried about it, but still trying to be kind of careful. There's part of the interlock fell out of the hole there. Wow. Had some tension on it. Yeah, this case is, the cover's not very good. Don't know if I got enough. Normally, you wouldn't have these kinds of issues. Uh-oh. Interesting. You know what? It's coming, I think. There we go. Put this over here so we don't lose it. That's not doing much of anything. I think the end of this rail is bent pretty bad. Right where the crack went there. Holy moly. This method is not ideal, but I think we're dealing with junk anyway. There. Yikes. Don't you do it too. I don't know what's going on here. Oh yeah. Got a little who's it, what's it. Right there at the end. It's definitely not for me pounding on it. I don't know if a Harbor Freight file will touch that. Let's see. Where are my files? Right here. There. And there's the last detent, spring. So there you have it, folks. One wrecked top cover. Cool. And then part of that top cover service kit's the screws and a tap. Does it include the tap? Maybe it doesn't include the tap, I forget. But new screws. Take off the oil deflector for the vent. And actually, since this cover's junk, see if we can get that vent out of there. Okay, here we have all the parts cleaned up and all of their fabulous glory. This side right over here is junk. Mostly junk. So the counter shaft unfortunately took something to the teeth here, took a shot to the teeth. Otherwise it looks really good. But it's kind of a no-go right there. The rear output housing, the bolts were re-drilled and not quite right. I mean, a guy on a budget, yeah, otherwise it's in good shape. Looks like it needs to be cleaned a little better. So that's a maybe. The main case, so here's the input bearing retainer. And you can see it wore all the way through here. And where it wore through, it's a little lower there than the rest of it. It did wear into the case, into the main case here. Now there is enough support left for the pilot, so that's a maybe. A guy on a budget, or if a guy pulled this apart, you know, it'd work, I think. I gotta measure some things, make sure the case itself didn't get bent up here or anything like that. This guy obviously yeet its last ha. All the bearings didn't look too bad. I really feel that if this case was better maintained, like oil changes every now and then, it would have been fine. Here's an example. This did go through the wash, but I got to scrub it and do a little better. I mean, the stuff is just caked on there. That's after a few minutes of washing anyway. Yeah, it just starved the bearings for good clean oil, and that's all she wrote. Most of the gears look okay. Haven't really inspected them too hard yet. Just getting a little flash rust from the washer here, but that rubs off. The synchronizer teeth on this are could be better. It could be worse. Might be a reusable part. This one looks pretty good here. All those teeth were barely scratched. As far as the teeth. Ooh. Nope. That's bad. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. I think when the input shaft went, the rollers, there was a roller I saw on the bottom, just one, and I thought maybe it fell out of the reverse idlers. That was right when I saw it. But I think one got pinched right in there. That's about the right size for it. And it looks like it did glint off right here. Looks like here's junk. All these hubs are good, except the input did break off in all the carnage. Otherwise, it looks okay. Thrust washers all look good. The sliders look pretty good. I mean, they're obviously worn, but they're not bad. You know, this one's a little worse. What else? Oh, the main shaft. That's right on the edge of where the bearing rides, and it might be okay, but I don't know if you can see the little dimples that the rollers themselves chewed in when this thing finally let loose. So unfortunately, a good OE shaft. Still looks good back here, which is rare, by the way, being this old, never been into, still looks that good. Unfortunately, this isn't, that's a reference item now. Looks like I got to clean that up a little bit before I put it to reference. So I tied all the, when you clean these, if you use a big parts cabinet like I got, it's a good idea just to tie everything together so you know what come out of what. And I just did it so I could hang them because it's not going back together. But the fork itself looks okay. The holes I got to check to make sure. This is the one I had to file on. And I don't know. I got to see if the rails are straight, or yeah, if the shift rails are straight, then they're good. Just need a little better cleanup here. This one looked pretty good. A little wear on this fork, but I can barely catch my finger on it. So this is definitely reusable. If it was mine, I'd reuse it. Fifth gear, or I'm sorry, reverse. Did get some wear on the one side. And then fifth gear fork right here. Not bad. Have to get something to pull all the metal that embedded itself. But not bad. Fifth gear looked pretty good. That's good. Reverse gear also looked good, just at a quick glance. Or I'm sorry, reverse idler gear. Yeah, that looks okay. Idler shaft. Just still dirty a little bit. And got some soap residue on it. The bearing plates look good. These go in this pile. So I looked at the synchronizers, and all the fiber looked pretty good besides the one that was wiped. The steel inners and outers. For the most part looked okay. One of them was kind of burnt. Maybe this. Yeah, this one was burnt. You know, when you get in this far, you just replace all this stuff anyway. Yeah, that's burnt too, I guess. Yeah. Running the wrong oil, not changing oil frequently enough, that'll burn them right out. Here's the input shaft. Round it off a little bit. I mean, for an old farm truck, the gears are still all intact. They're not really mushroomed over. Well, maybe just a touch. Old farm truck or something that you just use to feed cows in the winter or something, this would probably work. Inside looks okay for the most part. Not that I recommend reusing it, just if you had to in a pinch. The shift parts, they look pretty good. This one, I don't think they're supposed to kind of rake over like that. It's still dirty on the inside. Nut and washer. Actually, this washer, this Belleville washer here, still has some arch to it. Not that you want to reuse these, but I'm kind of impressed that after all this time, it's still got its shape. Of course, these things are usually never in bad shape. Sometimes these are the anti-rotation keys for the counter shaft going right there. And usually you can reuse these. These look pretty good. You know, the bearings were worn, and there's some, I guess, pitting, but it's real smooth. Probably all the other contaminants going through it sanded it down real nice. It's not even through the surface hardening yet, I don't think. So, yeah, either this truck had a flywheel bearing or bushing go bad, or, like I'm thinking, just never maintained it. This still looks pretty good. Once I got the oil off it, the rubber still feels like rubber, not softened or anything. Just needs a little cleanup. So that's good. Was this okay? This was counter shaft fifth. Yeah. That actually looks not real bad. I mean, I'd reuse that. All the teeth look good. Yeah. Fifth shift rail, besides its turned color from sitting with its lid off for who knows how many years. Still good. I mean, it slid right out, so the parts where it slides, just a little real fine emery cloth or some steel wool or something. Just put the polish back in it. That's good. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. Every bearing in it is steel caged, every needle bearing. Well, the ones that are left, the pocket bearing for the input there was nothing. So it's definitely OE parts. I don't remember what year they got away from these, but the build tag's 95, and it wasn't too long after that they changed. I don't think. I'll have to look. So, as far as I can tell, I'm the first guy in this. So, if you do have a transmission that was this bad, you're probably better off getting another one by the time you replace everything that needs to be replaced. Check this gear, see. So it looks like just the one, just this gear is bad so far that I could tell. You know, a new top cover, you could get a bare top cover, and assuming, you know, the forks and rails were good, put them in a bare top cover or get a new top cover. The case is a maybe reuse. As well as the output housing. So you're into it at least for counter shaft. That, I mean, a guy could clean that up if he had to on this main shaft, but you'd most likely be looking at a main shaft. New synchronizers. The sliders are pretty good. All but one gear. Let's see, what else? Yeah, that's all this thing needs. Just a onesie twosie. So I guess if you get it for a good price and you build it all up yourself, that's perfect. You know, if you do get a remanufactured unit, you really got to watch where you get them from. There's the one that I took apart had used bearings in, all new parts, case. A couple of the gears or something were used. But, I mean, the bearings that I took out in that one looked worse than these by a lot. Like this one, you could keep running as long as your end play didn't get out of hand. Running for a while. But, yeah, if you get a good price on it, you got to replace some of the hard parts, and then obviously bearings, synchros, seals, and do it yourself. You know, you're probably better off than getting a reman, or probably no worse off anyways as far as cost goes. That looks okay. Inside their shaft. Yeah, at least we got most of the bolts for this. It looks like one must have fell off in the parts washer. Wait. Nope, they're all there. One of these might have fell off, but it was missing some top cover bolts. And one of the input bearing retainer bolts. So we got some bolts out of the deal. Well, that's about it, I guess. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Not wrecking it. Oh, I trip over everything. This might have to be a vice grips on a slide hammer operation. These just press in. There's my little screwdriver. Oh, how about this? Not quite, not without bending it. I don't think I gotta. No. Wonder. If I can just press it out. Probably not. Ooh, something's. Oh. No. So we'll just get some vice grips on a slide hammer later. But anyway, that vent just basically pops out. And we'll see what this looks like cleaned up.